What's up, guys? Vincent Rojas from Red Reviews is here, back with another classic month-late review. Today, I am, of course, tackling Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire, which is directed by Adam Wingard, who also directed this film's predecessor, 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong. And this movie stars Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Dan Stevens, and Kaylee Hottle. This movie's plot... Hold on, let me remember. So from what I understood, the plot is that Godzilla wants to get stronger, and Kong wants a family, and then Godzilla and Kong fight Lanky Kong and another Godzilla, but this is a different Godzilla because this Godzilla is white. It's a white Godzilla. So he or she is different, okay, than regular Godzilla. Because this Godzilla has a freeze ray instead of atomic breath like regular Godzilla, and Lanky Kong is also there, and he's present, and he fights King Kong and Godzilla, and then you're never gonna believe this, but you gotta trust me here, all right, guys, you gotta trust me. Godzilla and King Kong, they beat Lanky Kong. Oh my gosh. I know, it's crazy, but you gotta believe me. I swear it's true. Now, some people might be very mad about what I just did, spoiling the ending like that. The only reason I put spoiler warnings in my reviews is if the movie is clever enough to the point where you can't know everything about it from the trailer alone. And you can absolutely tell everything that's gonna happen in this movie from the trailer, so there's no reason for a spoiler warning. This movie is by far the most boring and predictable film I have seen on this channel. The only reason I even was remotely interested in watching it was because John from school told me, bro, like, you've gotta watch and review this movie. It's actually gonna be so good. So I'm gonna dedicate this review to John O'Keezy. And so you can just put it on John O'Keezy. If you don't go to my school, don't be discouraged about not knowing what that means. And if you do go to my school and you still don't know what that means, well, that's because you're not one of the cool kids such as myself and John O'Keezy. Alright, enough with the tomfoolery. Let's get on with the review because I want to be done with this. I actually don't have that much to say about this movie. Apart from, like, it's boring and forgettable, and it's just Godzilla and Kong doing things for 2 hours. That is the best way I can describe this film. Nothing of real substance happens. Godzilla and Kong, they both get upgrades, and then they go fight the bad titans, and they win. And that's it. I felt so empty walking out of the theater. I felt like I didn't even watch a movie, you know? It left zero impression on me whatsoever. It's a nothing movie. And when you compare this to a movie like Kong Skull Island, the difference is night and day. I particularly like that movie. It is my favorite of the MonsterVerse films, all of which I have seen, by the way. I only haven't seen the Skull Island or Monarch Legacy of Monsters shows, but I really, really like Kong Skull Island. I think it is an extremely entertaining, action-packed flick. It has so much personality to it, from the location to the characters. I mean, I remember pretty much every character from that movie, and I cannot say the same about any of the other MonsterVerse films. The creature designs in that movie are weird and cool, and that movie has by far the best ending to any movie from this franchise. I would highly recommend Kong Skull Island. I mean, you don't even have to watch any of the other films. It stands on its own. If you're looking for a movie that you'll just have a blast watching, watch that. The pacing is really good. The time period works to the film's advantage, and it's just so awesome. Is it a masterpiece of action filmmaking? No. But it is very rich in entertainment value. Even the 2014 Godzilla movie, titled simply Godzilla, has interesting camera work and good effects, and it actually makes a giant kaiju walking around a big city a really scary idea. Compare that to this movie, which I honestly think I might have fallen asleep while watching. I'm really not sure, but a lot of this is a blur to me, so I feel like I dozed off while watching. It seems like ever since Godzilla King of the Monsters, they've focused more on the Monarch angle and the Hollow Earth stuff, and it's a big departure from the first two movies, especially 2014's Godzilla. Also, that Hollow Earth thing is one of the stupidest ideas in a big movie franchise I have ever seen. The idea that there's a mini Earth within the larger Earth and there's space in between the two. Like, how does that even work? It's so dumb. This movie is just full of uninspired sci-fi elements, these super bright neon strobe lights, stale camera work. There's just no vision. There is no reason for this movie to exist except for money. It feels incredibly soulless. And also, this movie has some boring characters. Oh my gosh, the movie's characters are so boring. Rebecca Hall has the acting range of a wall. Brian Tyree Henry made my anger frenzy. Dan Stevens was my 13th reason. Bzz. Kaylee Hottle is actually not bad. The one actor in the movie that I think was just fun. Did you like that? The way I rhymed the names with the words? That took me a good 30 seconds to do, so I hope you appreciate it. And yeah, I know that Henry doesn't exactly rhyme with frenzy, but I'd like to see you do better, so post a better rhyme in the comments down below, and I might see it. I will see it. I read every comment. People call me Dr. Seuss. What can I say? Rebecca Hall is so boring. No personality. Brian Tyree Henry, don't even get me started on how much I despise conspiracy theorist / podcaster characters. They're always written so poorly, and this character is no exception. Dan Stevens is like the comic relief of the film, but he's not funny, so it's just really awkward and really cringy. The villain, whom I can't unsee as Lanky Kong, gets introduced surprisingly late to the movie, and he's not even in it that much, which is very disappointing. I mean, in 2021's Godzilla vs. Kong, the real villain, Mechagodzilla, is also introduced pretty late into the movie's runtime, but that's different because audiences are there to see Godzilla and Kong fight. In this movie, Godzilla and Kong team up against the bad guys, but they're not even together for most of the movie. They're on like completely different sides of the globe, and they only meet up towards the end of the movie, so you don't even have a good dynamic between them. It was just so poorly done. One thing, though, that occurred to me while watching is that Kong is just Kratos in this movie from God of War. He's got almost a beard in this, and he uses an axe to fight big monsters, and he's got like a little Kong with him for a portion of the film, like Atreus, except unlike Kratos and Atreus, Kong beats the crap out of this little ape in one scene, and I was actually laughing my head off. It was the one scene I actually enjoyed. This movie definitely feels more Kong-oriented than Godzilla-oriented, and it makes sense because Kong seems to be painted as more of a hero in these movies. Not that Godzilla isn't also a hero, but Kong, like, he works more with the humans, and I don't know. This is a pro-Kong movie for sure. But, man, this movie it was so forgettable. The action is stale and boring and uninteresting, and it made me almost pull my phone out and start looking at YouTube, but I didn't do that. That's pretty much everything I wanted to mention. Do not watch this movie. If you want to watch an actually good Godzilla movie, watch Godzilla -1, which is a genuinely good film. John O'Keefe still hasn't seen it. John, don't watch this movie, please. It's a waste of money. I mean, everything is so predictable. Every battle, every plot detail, every character arc is so by the books. There is nothing that you have not seen before in this movie. No speck, not even an ounce of originality. It's sad. It made me feel like I was wasting my money. I mean, the CGI's not bad, but that's about it. I have been a little stressed out lately with schoolwork, but as school winds down, I will be posting quite a lot of reviews. There are multiple reviews I'm currently working on, so please watch those when they come out. I will eventually catch up to the current movie release schedule. The next review that will come out will be for a season of a television show, so it's definitely an exciting time to be a Red Review subscriber, for sure. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Sorry this one came so late. Thank you so much for watching to the end, and go have a nice day, what's left of it. Peace.